You know the relationship is over. Your friends see it. Your family sees it. Deep down, you see it too. But you stay. Not because you're happy. Not because you see a future, but because you've already invested 3 years or 5 years or a decade, and walking away feels like admitting all that time was wasted. This is the sunk cost fallacy, and it's destroying your chance at actual happiness. The sunk cost fallacy is an economic concept that explains why people throw good money after bad. If you've already spent $500 repairing a car, you're more likely to spend another $500 even when the rational choice is to cut your losses and buy a different car. You're not thinking about future value. You're thinking about the money you've already spent that you can't get back. Now apply this to relationships. You've invested years of your life with someone. You've built routines, shared experiences, made sacrifices. The relationship isn't working anymore, maybe it never really did, but leaving feels impossible because all that time will be wasted. So you stay another year, then another, then another. You're not staying because the relationship is good, you're staying because of what you've already put in. Here's what makes this so insidious. The investment itself becomes the reason to continue investing. The more time you spend in a failing relationship, the harder it becomes to leave, not easier. Your brain tricks you into believing that because you've already given so much, you can't possibly walk away now. But this is backwards thinking. Past investment should never determine future decisions. What matters is whether this relationship is giving you what you need right now and will give you what you need tomorrow. The years you've already spent are gone regardless of what you do next. Let's talk about how this actually shows up, because recognizing it in yourself is the first step to breaking free. You find yourself saying things like, I've already invested 5 years, I can't just throw that away. But here's the question you're not asking. If you met this person today exactly as they are now, would you choose them? If the answer is no, the years you've spent together are irrelevant. Those years are already gone. You can't get them back by staying. You can only lose more years moving forward. You tell yourself it'll get better. You've been through hard times before and survived them, so this must just be another rough patch. But there's a difference between temporary struggles in a healthy relationship and fundamental incompatibility. If the core issues have been present for years and nothing has changed despite your efforts, you're not waiting for improvement. You're waiting for a miracle. You're afraid of starting over. The thought of being single again, of dating, of building something new with someone else feels exhausting. You're comfortable even though you're unhappy. This is loss aversion in action. Your brain weighs potential losses heavier than potential gains. The loss of familiarity feels worse than the gain of a potentially better relationship. So you stay in the known misery rather than risk the unknown. You're worried about what people will think. You've told everyone this is the one. You've defended this relationship to concerned friends and family. Admitting they were right and you were wrong feels humiliating. So you stay to save face, sacrificing your actual happiness to protect your ego. You've merged your lives. Your finances are tangled. You have a lease together, maybe a mortgage. You have shared friends, shared routines, shared everything. The practical complications of leaving feel insurmountable. So you stay not because you want to be together, but because untangling your lives seems too difficult. And here's the darkest one. You've already sacrificed so much for this relationship. You turned down job opportunities. You moved cities. You distanced yourself from friends. You changed fundamental parts of yourself trying to make it work. If you leave now, all those sacrifices were for nothing. So you stay, hoping that more sacrifice will somehow retroactively justify the past ones. Every single one of these thoughts is the sunk cost fallacy in action. You're making decisions based on what you've already spent instead of what you'll get in return. Here's what nobody tells you about sunk costs. They're not wasted if you learn from them. That's the biggest lie the sunk cost fallacy tells you. It says if you leave, the years were wasted. But those years taught you what you don't want, what you won't tolerate, who you're not compatible with. That's not waste, that's education. The only way those years become truly wasted is if you stay and lose more years learning the same lesson over and over. Let me tell you what's really happening when you stay because of sunk costs. You're not preserving your investment. You're making a new investment every single day you stay, and that investment is almost certainly losing value. Think about it like this. You have a limited amount of time on this planet. Every day you spend in a relationship that isn't right is a day you're not spending finding one that is. It's a day you're not spending being genuinely happy. It's a day you're not spending becoming the person you want to be. The opportunity cost of staying is enormous, but it's invisible because you're focused on the visible cost of what you've already given. Here's the hard truth. If you stay in this relationship for another 5 years and then it ends anyway, you will look back and wish you had left today. The time you've already invested will still be gone, plus you'll have lost 5 more years. The pain of leaving doesn't decrease with time. It increases. Because the longer you stay, the more the sunk cost fallacy has to justify. Economists have a principle that applies perfectly here. Ignore sunk costs in decision-making. When a business is deciding whether to continue a project, they don't look at how much they've already spent. They look at whether continuing will produce value. If the answer is no, they cut their losses immediately, no matter how much they've invested. You need to do the same with your relationship. Ask yourself, if I invest another year in this relationship, will I be happier, more fulfilled, closer to the life I want? Not, will I have invested even more, but will I actually get something valuable in return? If the honest answer is no, the years you've already given don't change that calculation. They only make the cost of staying even higher. And here's something that might shock you. The fear of wasted time is actually preventing you from having the relationship those years could have built. If you were with the right person, you wouldn't be thinking about sunk costs. You'd be thinking about the future. The fact that you're calculating investments means you already know the answer. You're just trying to rationalize staying because leaving is scary. So what do you actually do if you recognize yourself in this? First, reframe what wasted means. Time spent learning who you are and what you need is never wasted, even if the relationship ends. You're not the same person you were when you started. That growth has value regardless of whether you stay or go. Second, make decisions based on the future, not the past. Ask yourself where this relationship is going, not where it's been. Will staying make your life better or just longer in the same situation? If your best hope is that things will stop getting worse, you're already in trouble. Third, remember that leaving doesn't erase the good parts. The happy memories, the growth, the experiences you shared, those all still happened. They're part of your story whether you stay or leave. Leaving doesn't delete the past. It just stops you from creating a future you don't actually want. Fourth, recognize that your future self is watching you make this decision. In 5 years, when you look back at this moment, which choice will you thank yourself for? Staying because you were afraid of wasted time, or leaving because you valued your future more than your past? The sunk cost fallacy convinces you that leaving is giving up. But sometimes leaving is the bravest thing you can do. It's choosing your future over your past. It's refusing to throw good years after bad years. It's understanding that the time you've spent doesn't obligate you to spend more time. You're not a business required to see failed projects through to the bitter end. You're a person with one life, and every day you spend honoring a past investment is a day you're not making a better investment in yourself. The years you've given are gone either way. The only question is whether you'll give more years to something that isn't working just to avoid the feeling that those years were wasted. Because here's the secret, they're only wasted if you learn nothing and change nothing. If this resonated with you, Leave one word in the comments describing how long you've been in your current relationship or how long you stayed in a past one you should have left earlier. Just a number. No judgment. Sometimes seeing you're not alone helps. Share this with someone who might need permission to choose their future over their past. Thanks for watching.